Hi Tenzing, how's it going?
I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, great, thank you. And thank you for taking the time today to talk about this film. To talk
Oh,
about the series, sorry, because I'm a big fan of the film. And when I found out they were doing this show, I think like a lot of fans, very excited to head back to this world. And it must have been great for you to, I think 3 years now since Abominable came out, to revisit this character and head back to that amazing world.
yeah, it's really crazy. I was super excited when I heard the news that we were going to be making a TV show out of it because I love playing this character so much and I love the whole world that it's set in, and of course all the great cast and the people that I met shooting the film and getting to be with them again, or a lot of them again, for the show is so great. I have to say yes, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And the show does pick up pretty much where the movie left off, which I think is great for fans curious to see what happened next. So obviously having so much time pass, like I said, was it challenging to step back into Jin's shoes and find him as a character again after so much time?
Oh no, not at all. I think that I played Jin for the movie for like 4 years of my life, and that was just like going in for so many different recording sessions. So I really had that character. We kind of meshed into one. I think we share a lot of similar qualities, so I was able to pull from my own emotions and my real life for a lot of this character. So it was super easy just to step back in, and I was just super excited that I got the chance to do it again.
Yeah, that's awesome. And as I said, I definitely came out that first movie hoping for a sequel because the characters were so much fun to spend time with. So when you do have 10, 25, 30-minute episodes like this, what was your reaction to learning that you were going to be able to continue this story on television as opposed to another feature film?
I thought either way I would have been happy. You know what I mean? If we got a sequel, it would have been great. Obviously, a television show is also so much fun and fantastic because each episode is a different story. You know, we meet a new character or a new creature every story, which is a lot of fun. And we also learn a lot about the characters, and the characters learn a lot about themselves as the series goes on. So either way, I would have been happy. The television show, shooting and recording it was so much fun. So yeah, that's all I can say about that.
Yeah. As an actor, would you say almost more rewarding in some ways to obviously be able to follow this character across a TV show? Because obviously you're getting a lot more screen time. And as you said, there's different stories each week where you can further explore who Jin is as a character.
Yeah, I think that both sort of stories or ways of telling a story are have their own great qualities, whether it's a movie or a television show. I think that throughout my career, you can see I've done a lot more television than I have film. So I really enjoy doing television. I think that, like you said, there's a lot more time to kind of go through each episode and your character develops more and more. But doing the film, my character went through a lot and I was able to go through that sort of emotion from start to finish. So I'm happy to do both. And it was really fun to do the TV show though, because we got to do the movie. So it was fun to kind of see the TV show version of it all. So yeah.
Yeah, it works perfectly. And something I enjoyed about the show, we obviously, with your character in particular, we get to see those relationships with Yi and Peng and Everest. They all really develop in, I think, very exciting ways. So, which of those relationships did you enjoy really getting to delve into across the course of the series?
Um wow, that's a tough question. I would That's a tough question. I would probably have to say maybe Yi. I mean, I sort of developed my relationship with all the characters of the story. I mean, with Yi, we always kind of butt heads a lot, but throughout the show, we learn to work with one another, and we see the great qualities that each of us provide in these sort of situations. And Pang, we learn to take him serious. He's not just the comedic relief. He has good ideas. He is a smart kid, and with Everest, obviously, in the movie, my character was the only one that wasn't the biggest fan. But in the show, we become best friends, and I really need his help in helping these creatures, and he needs our help. So I think that all the relationships really grow stronger throughout the show.
Yeah, it does a fantastic job on that front. And something else I thought was very cool with Jin, he gets some new tech in the show quite early on, very cool pair of sunglasses, and obviously get into more of that as the show progresses. So was that something fun for you to explore and obviously get to see a new side of this character as we go down a little bit more of a sci-fi route in some ways?
Yeah, I think that it was really cool when I heard that he would get a super like fashionable pair of sunglasses. Like that's literally the perfect thing for Jin because he's all about his style and the way that he looks. And the sunglasses are super cool. I remember recording. I got to do a lot of things, and I'm literally in the booth without sunglasses, but pretending I have. I'm like, yeah, I see it, I see it, and I'm acting it out myself. So it was a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah, and of course, you mentioned before the creatures in the show, and there's a really rich variety of them here. You know, a lot of them borrow from real life and obviously mythological inspiration. So, did you have any favorites? And just what was it like for you to explore that culture in that way? Because it feels very authentic, as did the film a few years ago, of course.
Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of great characters. They all are so different, but so cool in their own ways. Picking a favorite is really hard. I've said before in other interviews that my favorite would probably have to be Morty, I think his name is. He's the one that makes Jin invisible. That's a little bit later in the show, so I know it just came out today, so spoiler alert. But he's the one that makes Jin invisible. I think that he's super cool because anything he wants can just turn invisible. So I think he's the coolest.
Yeah, for sure. I'd agree with you there. And Jin, of course, he is a kid, very conscious of his appearance and social media, and I think obviously very relevant in that respect. But there's a lot more to him as well. You know, he's not just superficial, and he really does care about his friends. And as you said, we see that relationship and that bond with Everest grows. So what was it like for you to dive more into that and show more of who Jin is as a person this time around?
Yeah, I think that it was really cool, and you see throughout the show how he sort of changes from that self-centered kind of kid who only cares about himself and his appearance, and like he was only really trying to be a doctor because that's what he thought would be cool to everyone else. And you see throughout the show that it's not about what the other people think about you. It's about what you think about yourself. You should do everything for yourself and for no one else. And he learns that throughout the show. So it was really cool to dive into those emotions and play that character as he grows.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great messages in the show. And I know obviously the past few years with COVID and everything else that's been going on, things like these productions have had to go remote and people working from home. So was that something for you? Were you having to record the show from home or were you able to get into the studio for this one?
They gave us the option actually at the start of the show, and I just did not trust myself enough to do it from home, even if they sent me all the equipment. So I was like, I will drive to wherever you guys want. And but it was a little different in the booth compared to when we did the movie because I was the only person in the studio. It was me and the audio guy, and then they were all on Zoom, director, writers, and all that. So it was a little bit different. We did have to, manage some things differently than we would have before COVID, but we got it done. It was a great experience. Really happy we could do it.
Yeah, and when you are recording your lines, are you someone who does get quite physical in the booth? Because I know I've spoken to actors before. Some of them finish the day, they've lost their voice, they're covered in
Yeah.
sweat. Is that something that you find has that have gone down that route,
Oh
or
yeah,
what? Yeah.
100%. 1000%. I know a lot of people are, and I'm sure Chloe has said this so many times, but a lot of people think that voice acting is just a walk in the park. You go in your pajamas, you just kind of stand there, you lay your lines down, and then you're out. But especially for a show like us, it's like a lot of running, there's a lot of screaming. Like they tell me, okay, now scream like you're floating on a cloud shaped like a fish. And I'm like, okay, I haven't done that before, but I'll try my best. And yeah, so I like to put my all into it and actually act like I'm experiencing it for myself.
Hmm. And I know you said you can relate to Jin's journey, and I feel like this character is someone now you have very much made your own. So when you are in that booth and now you are working on a show like this, which obviously gives you more space, are you improvising a lot and bringing a lot of your own ideas and personality into Jin, would you say, on the show?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that we even were able to do that on the film as well, and it has a lot to do with our great team and the trust that they have in us to bring what we want to the roles, and which I'm really grateful for. And so yeah, I would say that I do pull from a lot of my own experiences and my own emotions to convey the way that Jin might feel in certain moments, and our team, our directors and our writers are really accepting of that, and they 100% sometimes even just let us take the wheel, and I think that that's so much fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know after the film came out, there was a lot of talk online. Obviously, your grandfather, one of the first people to reach Mount Everest summit. So when you are working on a show like this, obviously you can't help but see the parallels there. Is that something that makes this project almost more meaningful to you in a way that you can almost pay tribute to your family legacy like that?
Yeah, so much. And I remember getting the audition for it. It was from an agent who wasn't even my voice agent at the time. So it was just a random email. And I was with that agency commercially, so he kind of took me on as well. And the original title was just called Everest, and it was for a voiceover role, not much description behind it. So I thought, no, I guess Everest, I can relate to Everest, so I should might as well just try it. I did the audition. I had no idea what was going on. All I saw was magical Yeti, and that was enough to just blow my mind. And then, yeah, like a year later or so, they said, it's yours. And I was like, I forgot about that, but okay. And yeah, here we are today. I'm really grateful that I was able to join. And yeah, like you said, a huge part did have to do with my grandfather. And I don't, physically make the journey to Mount Everest, but I did it in animation. So
Yeah, pretty damn cool, to be fair. It
yeah.
must be an awesome thing to have in the back of your mind. And when you do approach a project like this, obviously it is very, as I said, I think authentic to Chinese culture, and just, in a respectful way as well, not heading down the cliched route, which unfortunately we might have seen years ago. So is that something, when you approach a project like this, that you can be authentic in that way and get to explore that side of things too?
Yeah. I'm obviously being a person of Asian descent myself. I'm really happy that I'm able to join a project like this because our whole team, I remember on the film, and I think in the show as well, the whole cast and even background actors are all Asian people. So it's really cool that we get to make this film and this television show to represent people out there who maybe don't get to see themselves that often in those lead roles, or going through these sort of emotions on the big screen, and be like an inspiration to some of these kids. I think it's really cool.
Absolutely. And another genre, of course, we're finally seeing some more Asian representation in is superhero movies.
Mhm.
And I know you've got a huge fan base out there, and I often see your name come up with various Marvel and DC projects. So is that something that you are interested in at this point of your career? And have Marvel and DC come calling yet, or are you still waiting?
100%, 1000%. That would be so cool. And just like you said, I see those tweets and I see those Instagram edits as well, and I am all for it. It makes me feel like a little kid again. I'm like that would be so cool. So yes, 100%. I would love to do that.
Yeah, it must be quite a fun thing for you as an actor to see, see that sort of upswell of support, and knowing that there are other actors out there who've had the same thing. And
Mhm.
well, John Krasinski is a good example with Mr. Fantastic, obviously then ending up in the Doctor Strange sequel. So it must be a cool thing to think that could maybe be almost be wished into reality for you down the line.
Oh, fingers crossed. Every day, every day.
Oh, well, you're definitely on that front. And going back to this show, this franchise has got so much potential. We could see again a season two. We could see another movie, maybe spin-offs for the various characters. But have you got any specific hopes where you would like to see Jin's story go next?
I'm completely open to anything. I really love this team, and I trust that anything that they have in mind, I will love. A sequel would be pretty cool, like a movie sequel would be pretty cool, but it's ultimately not up to me. It's what they want to do, and anything they want to do, I want to do. So I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure. And you, Chloe, and Albert, the three of you, so great together. But on the first film, did you guys get to work together at all in the booth? Obviously, I'm guessing this time you wouldn't have because of COVID, but have you been in touch at all to talk about the show or anything like that?
Yeah. We talk occasionally, and on the film, we did get to do a couple scenes together in person. I talk about it all the time, but that scene in the bamboo forest in the film, that was in person between me and Chloe. And like we had talked about earlier, the improvising thing, that whole scene was pretty much improvised. That was literally just them being like, "You guys know these characters. We've recorded the whole movie, so you know where you are in this moment, and just have a conversation." And we did, and I think that it's one of the best scenes in the movie. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Chloe absolutely kills it, and yeah, so those moments were super fun to do. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do that on the show, like you said, because of COVID. I really wish we could have, but yeah.
Yeah, well, regardless, I thought the show came together absolutely fantastic. As I said, as a fan of the first film, so much fun with this. And I hope you guys do get to come back, whatever form that may take. And Tenzing, thank you so much for your time today, because I'm a big fan of your
Thank
work
you.
and loved what you did with Jin in this one. So cheers.
Thank you.